As an emotional projector with a 2-4 profile line, like me, you're in many ways a walking conundrum, sir, but entirely differently. And the hermit being aware of his own genius, which I'm sure, like you said, I thought I was crazy sometimes. Like there are times in which you're not like certain what's going on here, you know, like because this is weird. This is an obscure human experience, but it's yours and you're owning it in the best way that feels right. That profile line too, being like you were born with a creativity and an expression and talent that many people will, you know, work at something their entire life and never develop the skill to match it. That's just what the profile line two embodies. And they do very well at wielding those gifts while kind of sequestered off alone, away from other people, so that other people can watch them. And this is why I say that the age of the internet and social media, this is a perfect atmosphere or ecosystem, I should say, for someone like yourself to thrive. And yet the 4 profile line of the opportunist in your unconscious aspect, this is someone who is meant to extract all that they have from within to create wide-reaching networks into like lots of spaces and to connect with many, many people. So the hermit and the opportunist is a very interesting combination in this way. You see, like someone who does well by themselves, does all of this in essence in isolation from the outside distractions, but the person who's meant to intersect and interconnect like a networker of air traffic control proportions with all different kinds of people and create connections. You see how this could only be done in the age of the internet, sir? It's just wild.
Yeah, definitely. And that's literally my life lately. I I am very much a hermit. Like I don't sit in the house all day, but I don't go and hang out with people all day. I'm very much all by myself all day. And then that's how I connect with people is online. That's, I mean, that's got it down to a T.
Well, it's incredible because yeah, like I probably would have never our paths would have never intersected, certainly. And I bet you could say that about pretty much everyone that you are, you know, in collaboration with or having, you know, like creative, inspiring back and forth with. I know that you go on to other podcasts and that you're constantly uploading new work that you have that is, I mean, it spans everywhere from like fantasy. There's unicorns and there are obviously aliens that, you know, in that portrayal in that form. And while I don't necessarily know who these others are, like I don't know like what the definition and the reference is most correct to refer to them as, I also know that they're there. I've had my own experiences as well with you know, others contacting me, speaking to me Much like Ra Uru Hu, the founder of human design, had when he birthed this entire system into the world, there is wisdom to be had as a channel of this information. Now, it's easy to become confused and like lose yourself in that sequence of exchange energetically from somewhere else with someone else who knows who. But there is something that's trickling in that's entirely original and unique. And I believe that that's happening because it's something that the world very much needs.
Yeah. And I've also had them come in through dreams. I also do practice light language and meditation and music as well. I mean, they come through in all different ways, but I've had some dreams, man, that just freak me out. They freak me out, but also on the other hand, it's also like, well, that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I have too, Vincent. I remember I lived an entirely different life as another creature on another planet, and I had never seen this creature before anywhere. Like, but I was living in a commune, like tribal capacity with many others like myself that were telepathic. Like there was a lot there that I don't think I just came up with that. I was tapping into something, and this all occurred in the course of a 30-minute nap that I felt guided to take right then. I had to lay down and then bam, like these things are not something that we're necessarily asking for, but it's something that's flowing through us because we are the right container for it to be presented into this 3D world, I believe. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I really believe all truths are true, so that's my truth, and I believe it's true, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know that in some of your photography, there are capturings that it's like, this is just an insect. This is just a little bee or a praying mantis, or in what was the case with the little white fly that looked like it was wearing a dress?
Yeah, I forgot what kind of bug it is, but it looks like a fairy bug.
Yes. Like I can feel these little presences all around you at whenever you post those. It's like they're staring right at you in a figurative way. Like again, people, you're not going to look at these photographs and these paintings and be able to like see literal eyes looking at you. Maybe you will if it's one of those where the bug's right up in the frame like some of them, though, it's like I feel like something is peering out from these photos or is even performing like that little fairy bug. I felt like that fairy bug was performing. And there is some level of them knowing, I believe, this is just a theory. They know that whenever you capture something about your energy as this projector, which is I call the paradigm shifters for planet Earth. They are an entirely new aura type, brand new, birthed into this world because they have a different flavor and frequency that it's almost like the video projector. Whenever it hit the scene, I believe at the turn of the 19th century, that all of a sudden we could take artwork from the stage and record it and change it and project it up on a screen that takes up an entire wall of a large building. See how that shifted human consciousness in terms of how art was absorbed and digested, and how all at once everyone could have a similar experience with this cinematic expression. This is what projectors do. And I feel that being done every time you capture a frame or paint a canvas, that something is being projected up on the wall for us all to behold and connect with. It's incredible, man. Like are you feeling what I'm throwing down?
Yeah. Well, and with the back to the whole fairy bug thing too, and all the bugs, because I used to be afraid of bugs. My mom always told me, it's a bug. Ah. So I used to like be afraid of bugs. And then once I got this macro cam on my phone, I could actually get up close and see that they're not scary, and they all became my friends. And I talked to the deer. So I spend most of my day out in nature lately, and I talk to the deer, I talk to the birds, and I talk to the insects that I consider them my friends, and I take pictures of them like you would take pictures of your family. And I think that's why they come around. Like when I first seen them fairy bugs, it was like the movie Avatar, all the bugs or all those things land on them. That's what they would do to me out in the woods. They'd just be all over me. And I love it. Except for them stinking mosquitoes. I hate them. I do not like the mosquitoes.
They're not of this world, I don't believe. I think that there's something different that's was I guess you could say dispersed here for not for our greatest good. That is
Yeah.
something else. Like it's so funny the things that you have to say and the things that you have to share, there's an innocence there. And there is this because you say you're like, I don't discount any belief or spiritual philosophy. That's not why I'm here. Like I believe it's all real, it's all true, it's all possible in the infinite spectrum of potential, you know? Like that's I get that. I'm digging it. It's funny though that this would be the conduit chosen for this expression from other worlds, because I think that other worlds and other dimensions, if you will, they need to acclimate themselves in a way that we will be able to even see or understand that they're there. And that openness allows for that. That openness that you have to accepting different perspectives, all is real and valid. I mean, in looking at your human design chart, you have a couple of centers that are completely open with zero activated gates. And a lot of people think that that means you don't have this thing, when in actuality, the way in which you receive those particular energies from those particular gates, it comes from something outside of you. It comes from something external. That's how it's like a divine feminine process rather than divine masculine outward, or rather inward to out. It's more of an outward to in, right? These open centers can be a breeding grounds for conditioning, but they can also be like a receptacle for deep wisdom in the aligned self theme of the expression of these energies at the individual level. And your open heart center and your open head center speak to me of these aspects. With you have zero gates activated in both of these centers. I know what the open head center feels like because I also have zero gates activated. And I'm wondering if it can sometimes feel like you are being bombarded with information, like information overload, and you're like there's so much flowing in that it's very difficult to discern and to categorize what should be priority versus what should be set to the side. Is this something that you experience?
Very much so with all the rabbit holes I've been down.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's discernment has to come in somewhere, and then you just have to, for me, I just have to follow my heart, and not take everything so seriously. And
Mm-hmm.
I know what is true for me will be here for me when I need it.
That's very true. And it's also the assessment that I eventually had to come to as well. Um, living in the age of the internet has its pluses, it has its benefits in terms of the influence and the impact that you can make in people's lives who you would have otherwise never come into contact with. However, it also, like everything in this realm of duality experienced with our 3D senses, right? It has it has shadow aspects, I guess you could call them, where it is in the age of the internet, this human body was not built to process that amount of information, and that discernment is key and crucial to being able to use it as the vital tool that it is for what it is our purpose is, right?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to find what's relevant for you because like you said, there's so much information. How do you know what is relevant for you you can't just pick, well, I guess you kind of got to pick one, but it'll come to you. What's relevant for you will always find you.
Little situation. Gotta get it going, then flowing. Each if I'm all the way home. Where my family sees me on the other side. Ooh, yeah. Please see the bright side. Watch me fly, watch me ride off into the day and the night. Yeah, we gon' fly. We gon' fly like E.T. Phone home, yeah. Phone home, yeah. Phone home.